field trip today at Speedy's garage, and I've had several people ask about Crew Chief Greg's car. So we're here to do some testing. Back in February, he and I put a 373 rear gear in this vehicle, and today we're going to do some testing and see how it does. It's going to be a little bit of a learning experience because that'll change his shift RPMs and other things. But like I said, some people have asked about his car. It's a 2009. It started life as an RT. He actually ordered one, and this was back when everybody thought the car dealer or car OEMs like Ford, GM, and Chrysler were all going to go out of business. And the one he ordered never showed up, or it showed up like 10 months later. He was able to locate this one pretty close by and went down and bought it instead. Eventually the one he ordered did show up, but he'd already gotten this one. So started life as a RT with a 5.7 Hemi, and he's upgraded it over the years. It now has an Arrington built 392, a Vortex supercharger, a little sprinkling of some upgrades from OST Dyno, and Mike from OST Dyno tuned it. It runs in the low 10s at about 132, 133 miles an hour. And today we're going to see how it does with the new 373 gears. after several passes, got things sort of dialed in. He ran a 1046 at about 131 miles an hour. Getting used to that 60 foot again has been a little bit tricky. He normally runs a lower, I'd say a low 1.5, maybe a high 1.4 60 foot, which will obviously chop that ET down even more. The rear gear is giving him a little more power off the line, so managing that on a test and tune day, work on that, and I think that's going to be a very low 10. He wants to run in the 1050 class at some of these racing classes like Mo Party and other MSHS events, so that's what we're shooting for, be able to run low 10s, and if you have to slow down because of heat or other reasons, you're in the ballpark. So that's how it did today. Everything went nice and smooth. And it does have whaled wheels. He's got some skinnies up front. These are 18 by 4.5 or 18 by 5, I believe, and it's a 28 by 4.5 tire. And in the back, it's a Mickey Thompson ET Street R, same exact tire I ran on Go Man Go on a 17 by 10 whaled wheel. So that's the setup, and it works really well. And he did the same gauge setup. I actually went over and he and I installed that together. Boost on the top, and then it's a Aeroforce gauge on the bottom, which back in the day was a great gauge because you could see 4 pieces of information like intake air temperature, air fuel ratio, you know, whatever else you want to see, engine coolant temp, things like that, all on the one gauge. This was, you know, a time before you had Hellcats and Scat Packs with computer systems in the car that showed you all that stuff. Well, I'm back at the shop, and we had a really good time at Beach Bend today. You know, it was kind of nice, to be honest. I didn't have my car, so we just went and totally focused on Crew Chief Greg's car, and honestly, it made things quite a bit less hectic. Normally when we go, we have both mine and his. He'll make a run, and while his is cooling off, I'll make a run in mine, and then any tune changes that we need to make, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between cars, trying to keep an eye on the staging lanes. It wasn't particularly crowded at Beach Bend today. Actually, it wasn't crowded at all, and the weather was phenomenal. I think the DA was around 100 to 200, which is really, really good for this part of the world. Normally we're 1,000 plus DA, even on a good day. In the summertime, it's 4,000, somewhere around in there, kind of miserable. So the DA was good, the car did great, and it wasn't super crowded. However, I don't know what it was. It was like we had a little bit of a curse following us around, because Greg would get in the staging lanes. We would literally get right to where he was the next car. I mean, literally going to be called to the water box, and the person in front of him had a mechanical issue or something like that, and it would be 45 minutes of cleanup. So, and that happened twice, 2 times in a row. So it sort of cut the amount of runs we could make down. We wanted to make 4, we ended up only making 3, but honestly, the car was sort of dialing in. His first pass, he ran a 10.7. The second pass, he ran a 10.6. And his third pass, he ran a 10.4. So he was chopping it down because he was having to sort of relearn that new rear gear. When you make a pretty considerable change like that to a car, it takes a minute as a driver to sort of figure out what it likes. His previous gear was a 306, and he went to a 373, so a pretty big jump. He says he loves it riding around town. The RPM and the response and all of that, throttle response and everything of the car. He's got a higher stall converter. I can't remember, maybe a 2500 stall, I can't remember exactly, 2000, 2500, somewhere around in there. And so the extra gear in the back sort of helps him with his drivability around town. He did say that if he were on the highway all the time, like cruising back and forth to work every day at 80 miles an hour, that gear might be a little bit high, and a 355 might be a better option or a compromise. But he doesn't daily drive that car. It's mainly a cruise around, have a good time in it on the weekend car, and then take it to the drag strip a few times a year. So the 373 he really likes, and getting that launch down, he was getting on it harder each time, and he went from a 10.7 to a 10.4, so he'd already chopped off 3/10 on his ET, and we're shooting for low 10s because you want to have some overhead. If you're gonna race in a 1050 class, your car better be able to run 10.0s. So that's sort of how it works. That'll give you some wiggle room if you need to slow down a little bit. You never want to have to be trying to play catch up, as it were. So again, a very successful day. We got one little tweak I think we're going to make to his tune on the 2-3 shift, and get back after it in the spring when the track opens back up for some more tuning and testing on that new gear. And finally, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for an update on Go Man Go. First of all, I'm having to think about how I tell that story. So you have to sort of process that. So a lot of people have been asking, has it been found? What's going on with it? A couple of reasons I've been waiting before I tell that story. Number one, there's a pretty large police investigation going on. I wish I could say that it was just a couple of kids joyriding and ran out of gas or whatever, but that wasn't the case. So I got to be careful what I say because I don't want to cause any problems for that case. Obviously, I want to see that run to completion and the people be held accountable. There's quite a few people involved and the police are all over it. I'll just leave it at that. The other thing is I wanted to let the insurance process run its course as well. So that's still sort of going and we're close to finishing that up. So stay tuned. I will provide an update on everything that happened. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Be sure to check us out on Instagram. It's at Speedies_garage, as well as the website, www.speediesgarage.net. Thanks for everybody who did check on me. I appreciate that a lot. And hopefully I'll see you out there.